Yo, what up? This is Dark, and here's a Mythic Plus guide for Operation Mechagon Workshop. When making these guides, I'm hoping to help people who are getting into Mythic Plus, as well as anyone who's still struggling with the mechanics. So when you're in that pug environment, you can be an asset to the party instead of being the reason you fail the keys. And for anyone interested in trying out tanking and understanding the routing, here's a basic route of what I do when I'm just pugging. Like and subscribe if this helped you at all. Starting off with the first boss room here, there's a lot of ads here, but the main one you want to be aware of are the bombs. You don't want to pull too many of the bomb dudes and kill them all at the same time, because if you do that, they're all going to explode and do a shit ton of fire damage and one-shot everyone. So make sure you're killing those bombs at separate times, or just don't pull a crap ton of those bomb dudes at the same time if you can help it, you know what I'm saying? Alright, first boss is the Tussle Tonkers. So these guys are two bosses that do some stuff. So the tank, he's gonna randomly leave mines on the ground everywhere. These are kind of a newer mechanic, I believe. But these mines, you just don't want to be, you know, standing on them and exploding them and all that good stuff. So avoid them best you can. And he'll also be charging at random players. And then he'll be doing like a line frontal at a player. So make sure you're not in front of that. And then for the other boss, the pummeler dude, for the tanks, he'll be doing a tank hit that will, you know, do damage. I think it's 6 yards around the tank as well. So make sure you're not standing on the tank during this fight. And you'll have to move the boss around when he gets his platinum plating, which will make him take reduced damage. And you want to take him under one of these big old hammers, have him get smashed by the hammer so it takes off the plating. You could do full damage to the boss again. And then he also has this ground pound ability where he's just gonna like jump in the air and do like AoE. And then there'll be saws that fly around the arena while you're fighting these bosses that will hit you and knock players up in the air. And then the border of the arena are like other kinds of saws or whatever, blades that will also hit you and knock you around and whatever. So just don't hit the blades if you can help it. And if you kill one boss before the other, they'll cast Electrical Storm, and this is a stacking debuff that will do nature damage every 2 seconds. And it's just going to keep stacking until you kill the bosses or the bosses kill you. Alright, after you defeat the first boss, you'll drop down the sewage hole and you'll be in this like sewage river area, and there's going to be some mechanical dudes and there's going to be some slime dudes. For the mechanical dudes, they're going to do a bleed to the tank that isn't too crazy, but they'll also do this drill puncture where they're going to drill the ground and do pulsing AoE damage to the whole group. I believe you can still LOS this. It doesn't do as much damage as it did in BFA. And then for the slime gunk dudes, they'll just reduce your haste on random players, and then they'll also do a healing absorb on their target. So just make sure, you know, you're out healing that healing absorb and you just like burn all these guys down and push through to the dog area. And in the dog area, you're going to be fighting some mechanical doggos before you fight the boss. And these guys will jump onto random players doing fiery jaws, which is just a fire debuff that will do some damage. It's dispellable. Just make sure, you know, pull what you can handle. You don't want to pull too many, and then everyone's getting fire dots on them. The healer can't dispel everyone, and you guys are getting rotted down. You know what I'm saying? Alright, Kojo, the next boss, is going to be the mechanical doggo. So for this guy, there's going to be crates that drop onto the arena. These crates, you don't want to be too close, but you don't want to be too far away because you'll need them for venting flame. And this is a mechanic that the boss will pulse and do a crap ton of damage. And to not take any damage, you want to hide behind the crate where it doesn't hit you for the duration. And then after that, you'll be getting another crate that you'll hide behind. You always want to hide behind the fresh crate. And the boss will do this explosive leap mechanic where he'll leap to 3 different players. You do not want the boss going through any of the crates while he's leaping. So get away from the crates when he does the leaps, because if you destroy the crates, that will do some damage. And then if you hit the new fresh crate, you're not going to have a crate to hide behind because he'll destroy it during his next venting flames. So make sure you're leaping away from the crates and not destroying the crates. And then for tanks, he'll be doing Blazing Chomp, which is just a fire damage attack, and it's a dot that he'll leave on you, and this dot will do damage when it's dispelled. So healers, make sure you're dispelling this in a timely manner, because if it stacks up, it will do more damage when you finally dispel it. And that's it for the doggo. Put him down and let's move on. Alright, so in the next area, you're going to be attacking this Alarmo bot dude, and it's going to spawn 3 different waves of ads. Starting with the first wave, it's just going to be a couple of gnome tinker dudes and their guard dogs. The tinker dudes will throw out squirrel bombs. These squirrels will eventually explode and create a huge blue AoE circle. Just don't stand in that circle. It does a crap ton of damage. And they'll also do Giga Wallop, which is essentially a chain lightning if the cast gets off. So make sure you're kicking this cast. And the next set of ads will be another 3-pack of some robot dudes that will do a bunch of arc lightning stuff, and they got some countermeasure shields that you could dispel and all this crap, so just make sure you're burning them to get to the next dude, who is a big spider dude who has a beam that's a straight line beam that will do a bunch of damage. Just don't stand on the line. He does some like rockets that shoot out and do like minimal AoE damage, whatever. And then he has a big pie pizza slice where there's a piece of the pie missing and you want to stand on that. It's indicated by 2 light beams, so make sure he does it like 3 times, so make sure you're standing in the piece of the pie, the big circle that he creates, where there's the empty space indicated by the lightning. In the next area, you're going to be dealing with the little mini gauntlet. After you dealt with that mini gauntlet, you got this one where you're not fighting anyone, you're just going through smoky areas, and you don't want to be detected by the little alarm bot dudes by standing in the circle of the radius. Because if you get caught, you're going to get sent back and you're going to have to redo this little gauntlet again. So make sure you are following the little smoke, and whenever there's an opening and you can stand in the smoke where they can't see you and wait for them to pass by, and then you pass them, and you don't have to be a freaking fool and get caught all the time. After the mini gauntlet, you'll be dealing with a pack of 6 mobs before the 3rd boss. You got a couple robot dudes that do that arcing dispellable thing. You got some tinkers who are going to throw some squirrels out that will explode, and they'll do the Giga Walla. Make sure you're kicking those again. And then you got the Mechagon defenders who are going to put little shield generators down on the ground, and any enemies within that shield will take reduced damage. So make sure if you're tanking, you're moving everything out of that shield. And if you know, DPS healers, if you have knockbacks or any way to pull the ads out of those shields, if they're being stubborn and not moving for a while, you know, help the tanks out and pull them out so you can do full damage. Alright, for the boss head mechanist Spark Flux. He's got a lot of mechanics that are going on at the same time, but it's not that crazy, but it is that crazy. So starting off, there'll be a flower plant that will spawn randomly in the room. You will have to kill that plant. Just make sure you prioritize that because it's just going to constantly be shooting everyone. And then besides that, he'll have some blades that will be bouncing and ricocheting around the room throughout the fight. And then he'll also target a random player throwing a bomb at that player, and it's going to create a huge AoE blue circle. Make sure you're not standing in that, because if you do, you get, you know, hit by the damage, and then you're also disoriented for like 10 seconds. It's dispellable, but you just get out of the big AoE circle. And then he'll also have some plants that pop up, you know, not targetable ones, but they'll shoot like little fireballs in the area that they spawn in. So just make sure you're not tanking them around those plants when they're shooting those little fireballs. And in the middle of the arena while all this stuff is going on, he'll have these laser beams that appear from the middle structure, and they'll shoot out and they'll spin around the room. Do not get hit by this. This fire beam does a crap ton of damage and will one-shot most people, especially on higher keys. So yeah, just make sure you're moving around the way the fire beams are moving. And that's it for this little dude. Let's go on to the next little dude. So after the 3rd boss, you'll have to kill these 2 spider mechanic things right here. They just do the rocket AoE thing and then the single line attack from the spider boss, or not the spider boss, the spider dude from earlier. So, you know, if you're feeling good, you can pull both these at the same time because the AoE damage isn't that crazy, and just make sure you're dodging those lines. And then you can spawn the little hover jets over here and hover to the final bridge. And on the final bridge here, you got more Mechagon Tinkerers, so kick the Giga Wallops, don't get killed by the squirrel bombs. You got the defenders, you know, pull all the ads out of those little defender shields, and then you got more robot dudes that will do more arcane nature damage. And then they'll do the defensive countermeasure, and that's dispellable. It just makes, you know, whoever they cast it on take reduced damage, so make sure you're dispelling that bad boy. And then if you have invis pots, skip the last 2 guys because you're probably good on percent at this point. And if you don't, then pull them and just kill them and get to the final boss. Alright, final boss, King Mechagon up in this motherfucker. So in this first phase, he'll be in his little hovercraft thing, and he'll do the Mega Zap to a player, and you'll take 100% more damage from that zap within 12 seconds, so make sure you don't get hit by another one. He'll spawn these plasma balls that will come up, and then he'll, you know, once in a while have these plasma balls move to a new location indicated by arrows and blue circles on the ground. Do not stand in the pathway of those balls or on the blue circles, otherwise you'll take some heavy damage. And then in this phase, he'll also lift up from the ground and shoot like a laser beam under him and chase a player. Do not stand under him or you will get one shot. And then when you get him down low enough and you kill his little hovercraft, he'll run away, stun you, and he's gonna spawn his big mech dude and get to the final phase here. And in this final phase, he'll do the Mega Zap again, but this time he'll shoot 3 players at different times. So you wanna make sure you're not on the beam of the player who's getting hit, because if you take 2 of these hits, you will die. So as tank, I always stand to the far left, and if you have the beam on you, it's just a general rule. Don't move, let the people move around you. Don't freak out and, you know, scare everyone or accidentally hit multiple people and all that good stuff. And then during this phase, you'll still have the plasma balls that will be shifting around, so make sure you're dodging those circles. Don't get hit, especially on the edge of the boss. Otherwise, you could get knocked off of the arena and die that way. And then he'll also have this magnet ability where he's gonna, you know, it's gonna do AoE damage and suck you towards the magnet, as well as sucking those plasma balls, so you'll get hit by the plasma balls and take damage from them if you're getting sucked that way as well. And then for tanks, you just gotta stay in melee range of this boss the whole time, otherwise he does a shit ton of damage to the group. And after that, it's just rinse and repeat. Destroy the big mech, he'll pop out of it, you just whoop his ass real quick, get the loot, and get out of here.
Raids, bosses fall, Dark Age conquers, no mercy at all. Warcraft legends under his control, gaining worlds he swallows whole. Epic raids, bosses fall, Dark Age conquers, no mercy at all.